Hello team, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to build a calorie tracking GPT for your clients. It's going to allow them to track their meals more accurately without you having to be there at the drop of a hat, and actually teach them to be autonomous in the process as well. So this is the GPT we're going to teach you how to do today. It's going to allow your clients to upload a photo like you can see here, and it will analyze the photo, look what's in there, give you a bit of feedback, ask for some clarification, and then give you some calories and macros to log. Now, this is perfect for the type of client who is maybe just learning how to start tracking. They're getting used to this sort of process, and they're maybe not, 100% accurate it is. We've all been there where, as a coach, we've had clients who've gone out to maybe a social event, a party, a dinner, and for whatever reason, they have tracked and logged a full roast dinner, some drinks, a chocolate cake at the end as like 500 calories. And we go, I don't know if that's 100% accurate. I don't know if you can get all those foods and meals in for 500 calories. So this is really great for when you're not available, just at the drop of a hat, to be able to kind of give your clients tools that are going to allow you to support them in this process, and you can teach them as they go through it as well. And the best bit about this is you can not code this, then is no coding needed at all. You can teach this tool and educate it on how you would like to coach your clients around this process, which is really, really great. So as you can see here, I've uploaded this photo of a Nando's, and it's just asking for some clarification. Now it said it's half grill chicken, peri, likely from Nando's. Does that look correct? Yes, it is. It's medium portion of seasoned fries. Maybe I would call them peri chips, and it's a regular, isn't it? And then is a side of Peronaise, which is correct. So is this from Nando's? We can go, yes. Is it half chicken? Yes. Breast and leg, and it's medium spice. And we've got the medium fries. This is a regular peri fries, so we can give some more context. How much Peronaise was used? And we'll say the whole tub. Okay, and we can send this off. And what it's going to do now is it's going to analyze this. It's going to look up on the web if it needs to. If it can't, if it's like an independent restaurant, it will kind of look at, stuff that is maybe similar to it. And it's going to figure out what the calories and macros are. And the thing that we've done with this GPT as well is we've asked it to have a little bit of a buffer on top of what it estimates. Now, for something like a Nando's, the calories and macros are online. So actually, a half chicken I know is about 580, 590 calories. With the sauce, it's probably about 600. With the peri chips, that's about 450 calories, and the Peronaise is like 150 calories or something like that. You can tell I go to Nando's a lot, right? So we can see here, calories on the peri chicken half breast and leg medium, 623. So it seems about right with the sauce added. It's also looked up the nutritional values. Peri fries, 300 calories, about 340. I think they're about 450. So it's not perfect. And a whole tub of Peronaise. And this is why we have the buffer in here as well. It's about a 20% buffer for restaurants underestimation. So it's going to allow us to get a kind of more accurate numbering. And look, this isn't going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Calories on their own, when you're kind of guesstimating them, are never going to be perfect. But what this does is it gets you a lot closer to what perfect would be. And it allows you to have less of these huge margins and kind of buffer in for what your clients are going to be doing. So this is an amazing tool, and it can be really helpful, and I'm going to show you how to build it right now. So before we dive into this, I want to give you guys a little bit of a just word of warning, because I have seen coaches doing this before, where they've created GPTs to fully replace themselves and basically have like the AI version of them for their clients. Now, although this seems like a really good idea up front, this is kind of, setting yourself up for failure. The reality is AI isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay, and it's only going to become more and more of a force of nature as we move forwards within the industry and as technology advances. Now, if you're a coach who's creating an AI version of yourself to answer client problems and get back to them, what you're doing is you are subtly and slowly undermining your current program. You are really like, dicing with danger when it comes to replacing yourself, because a lot of coaches are in that position right now where they're like, I don't want to, I'm scared of like AI coming, or, is this going to take my job? Now, a lot of us are probably, ignoring it and putting it off for a little bit, but it's a really real fear and a really real concern that we should be having is, how is this going to affect our careers, our livelihoods? And we have to be aware that we're not facilitating our own demise and actually creating something that's genuinely useful for our clients, but also improves the service. My argument is, if you are creating a GPT, which is just a GPT version of you, you are replacing yourself in front of your clients, and you are undermining and devaluing the actual worth of yourself in terms of coaching. the thing that's going to allow you to stand aside and be the really like magical coach that people want to work with, the person that is like, I want to work with this coach, is the fact that you are a human being and we can relate to other human beings. I've already seen this with other coaches before. Like I say, they've created GPT versions themselves. And my initial reaction was not that I would ever work with them anyway, but like a lot of them were female coaches. So they were female coaches for female coaches, for females. But my initial reaction was, I wouldn't work with that coach because it seems as if you're just half-assing it and you're being lazy about it. I don't think it's a good marketing element for a service-based business. It just doesn't come across in the right way. You want hands-on one-to-one service. If I was buying an AI service of anything, I would just get an app. You know, I've come to you as a coach because I want to work with you. So that's a really important part. Okay. So what we're going to be creating here is, like I said before, tools. Like these are accessory tools that allow you to get better results with your clients, that amplify the quality of service and don't replace you. Okay, that's really, really important. So what we're doing today, you can kind of take this and apply it to anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to ChatGPT, the website, not the app. If you've got the app, it doesn't seem to have this on there at the moment. And we're going to go ahead to GPTs. And from here, we're going to go ahead and click on Create GPT. Now, this is what you'll see when you come to this page. You have a couple of pages here. You have Create and you have Configure, and then you have the testing model on the right hand side. So what we have here is essentially like the creation process on the left and the model on the right hand side. Now, it might seem really simple, but there's a few little things that you need to kind of tweak and work through as you go through this. Feel free to kind of watch this video and pause as you go through, or just watch it and then, you know, watch it back afterwards. In fact, that's probably best. Watch it through once and then watch it back afterwards and do it step by step. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and give it a name. So we're going to call this Calorie AI. I can't type, can't write today. And description, a calorie tracking tool for fitness clients to estimate macro values in meals that don't have nutritional labels, right? Nice and easy. Tells us what it is. Now, the instructions, what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to leave this blank for just a second, and we're going to leave the conversation starters blank, and we're going to look ahead to the knowledge. Now, the knowledge, you want to implement anything that you have kind of written around this. So if the app here or the GPT here we're creating is a calorie tracking AI, then what we need to do off the back of this is give it knowledge around that topic. Okay. So the knowledge that you'd want it to know is how to accurately predict or track or, you know, measure out calories and do it off by eye. So if you've got a training, for example, that you've walked through this with clients, like how to track meals when they're out, that would be perfect. If you have got any lessons you've written on it before, anything about maybe, you know, accurately guesstimating foods when you don't know what the values are, all of those things are perfect. What you need them to be in is PDF format. So if they're written out, great, just convert them to PDF, drag them into here. If they're videos, what I would recommend doing is getting the transcript. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do that. Number one, just go to something like, what's the app here? Oh, no, it's not on here. CapCut. CapCut would be a perfect example. And just transcript it. Use the, not transcript, use the captions, there we go, and get the transcript that way. Or you can upload it to Loom, and on the right hand side of Loom there is the transcript once you've uploaded the video, and you'll be able to download that. Just put it in a PDF, and again, once that's done, you can upload it in here. That way, this will be pulling from that knowledge base. And a couple of things you want to consider within this is that there's very hard and clear rules that the GPT can follow along with. Okay. Now, capabilities, we do want web search because we want it to be able to search up things like, let's say a client goes to a certain restaurant. We want it to be able to search up and look up like, okay, what's the macros and calories here? The canvas you can leave on. Image generation, I'd leave off. There's no need for that. And then actions, this gets a little bit more complex. For right now, don't worry about this. You don't need this. Okay, so we're going to click onto the Create tab. And what we're actually going to go ahead and do over here on the Create tab now is we're going to fill out these two areas. So we're going to start a conversation, and what would you like to make? I really like using the dictate feature on here, by the way. The reason for this is because it allows you to kind of elaborate a lot more than you would normally write. So I'm going to use that on here while we go through it, just because it'll be a little bit more interactive for you guys as it is. Okay, and for some reason, hello, doesn't seem to want to, there we go. Okay, So I want to build a calorie tracking GPT for my clients to use when they are out and about and they need to track their calories. They should be able to submit a photo to the GPT, and the GPT will analyze what's in the photo and give them back a calorie, protein, carb, and fat breakdown of what they estimate to be in the meal. Now, I would really like this to be accurate. So we want it to be able to take some steps to be able to assess what's in the photos, and get the most accurate representation. So I would like the GPT to ask a few questions like the restaurant name, location, what the meal is as well could be really helpful, and maybe some stuff to break down the constituent parts of that meal so we can get really accurate on this. Okay. So we've clicked that. It's going to send it off. Once I click send, there we go. And it's going to update the GPT. So what's going to happen in the background here is this stuff's going to start to update here. Great. Now let's start picking a name for your GPT and how the calorie snap tracker. Would you like to get started or try something else? I'm just going to go with Calorie AI or whatever I called it before. And as you can see, the instructions have now filled out. It's also started some examples of starters for the conversation. So here's a photo of my lunch. I had a meal at Olive Garden. Can you estimate the nutrition in the meal I cooked? I'm just going to stick this down to 1. Can you estimate the calories and macros for this meal I cooked? Perfect. Okay. And if we had a knowledge base, we could do that in there. We don't need to make any other changes to this right now. We might want to add a photo. You can use just DALL-E and it will generate a photo for you as well, which is quite nice. So we'll see what that comes up with. And once that's done, this should only take a few seconds. You pretty much got something here. Now, this is where the fine tuning comes in because it's not always just great off the bat, which is a shame, but it is something that we can fix very, very quickly and very, very easily. So we've got this as the image. If we wanted something else, we could ask it to regenerate it, but I'm more than happy with that as the image. So let's go ahead and try something out. So I'm going to go, yes, that image is fine. So the left-hand window here, by the way, is like almost like a creation window. This is what's building the GPT, and then this is where we're going to test it. So we're going to go ahead and test it, and I'm going to search up Pub Lunch, which is one we did for when we were running this with clients earlier on. And I'm going to pick something like this meal here, which I'm going to paste in. So I'm going to copy and paste the meal in, and I'm going to test it out. And let's see how it goes. So this is where the real refinement comes in, this stage. You need to test this out because if you just put something out, it's not going to do it perfect first time round. So classic pub lunch, toad in the hole. That looks pretty accurate. Was it a homemade dish or for a restaurant? If a restaurant, please show the name and location. I don't know the name and location, so I'm going to say 1. I don't know. What kind of sausages? Should we go with, let's say, pork? And 3, don't know. 4, additional sources and ingredients not visible in the image. No. So let's see how this does. And again, we're just going to test it. We're going to give it something a little bit more difficult to run with. So it's going to search the web and see if it can break this up. Now, this is a toad in the hole. So it's 2 sausages wrapped in bacon. We've got Yorkshire pudding. We've got some peas and carrots. We've got some roasties, which are hidden behind. So let's see if it picks up on that. We've got some red onion and we've got some gravy. So let's see how it goes. So it has estimated the meal. And what have we got so far? Standard restaurant servings about 300 to 350 grams of vegetable gravy on the side. This aligns with reported ranges. So 500 calories for a roast, probably not the best thing in the world. So we're going to go back and say, this isn't accurate. In fact, let's do it by voice again. Okay, so this wasn't accurate. What I would like you to do instead is when you get an image, I want you to break the image down and tell us what you see in the image first of all. I would like you to then clarify if those things are correct or ask for any adjustments based off of that. You can also ask for rough quantities just to ensure, and then we can kind of cross-reference those things and use that to make a bit of an adjustment. What I'd also like you to do is once you have estimated the calories, I'd also like you to check the calories for that meal against maybe some sources online and see what we've got, if it seems accurate. I would also like you to apply a 20% buffer on top of calories. So anything that you estimate, because these are meals out, because they're kind of one-offs for our clients, I'd rather have a bit of a buffer, just for us to be able to track this a little bit more safely. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and send that off. We've sent off some new rules. It will update the GPT once it's been sent off. And again, what we'll see is it'll say updating GPT here. And then we'll also see in the configure, this will start to go, okay, cool. We're going to change this, change that. And you might have had in your knowledge base a bunch of this stuff, by the way. Your first try of this might be like bang on clear. That's the important thing here, is that, I'm creating this completely from scratch, but yours might be absolutely excellent at doing it. Okay. Next, how would you like the GPT to communicate? More casual, formal, friendly, coach, data focus. Let's go with very concise and to the point. No formalities, just pure questions and info. Keep it nice and concise in terms of the style. And again, it'll update it, and we can try maybe something else. So I'm going to go with something like a Nando's half chicken here. Let's see how that goes. Nando's half chicken meal. And I'm going to pick an image here that looks like someone's taken it in a restaurant. Perfect. I've got one here. This actually is an image taken from a restaurant. So that's excellent. Okay. So we're going to copy this in and give it a go. So we've got a half chicken chips here, and looks like coleslaw on the side. So let's see if you can pick that up. Grilled chicken, possibly peri-peri style. French fries, side of coleslaw, possibly garlic bread, or sandwich style between toasted bread. Well, there's no garlic bread in there, which is interesting. Is that peri chicken? Is that bread part of the meal? So I can say, yes, half chicken, medium, from Nando's. Is bread part of the meal? No, just chicken, peri chips, and coleslaw. And let's see what it does. So half chicken in Nando's is about 590, 600 calories. Peri chips are about 450. And then the coleslaw, I think, is about 200 odd. So let's see how it's done it. Coleslaw, estimated 100 grams, 150 calories, 470 for peri chips, 580 for the medium spiced chicken. Totals before is about 1,200 calories, which seems about right, I think, and then with a 20% buffer, we got 1440. So, for a restaurant like Nando's, okay, cool. We can probably be more accurate with this because they got all their calories online. But for something like, a pub lunch or like a independent restaurant, it's really hard for it to do this, right? So it's really hard for it to kind of guesstimate and be like, oh, what's going on here? So I'm going to give it one more go, and I'm going to just search healthy meal, and let's see. In fact, let's search restaurant meal and see what it comes up with. In fact, let's try something that's a little bit out there. Okay, cool. We're going to run ahead and give it a complete, test of a Denny's. Looks like a breakfast. I can't even see what that image is. Bacon, 2 pancakes, maple syrup, 2 eggs. So 2 sunny side up eggs, correct. 3 strips of bacon, 2 or 3 pancakes with syrup. That's 2. Coffee black. Is this Denny's Grand Slam? I have no idea. So I'm going to say Denny's. Yes. Don't know meal name. 2 eggs, 2 bacon, 2 pancakes with syrup. Any added cream or sugar? Any customization? Nope. There we go. So we've got that off, and hopefully it will give us a really accurate one. So it will come through and be like, look, 2 fried eggs, 190 calories, bacon strips, 100, buttermilk pancakes, 480, etc. So 950 in total. Is that correct? 485, 6, 7. Yeah. So 950 in there. And then we've got the protein, we've got the carbs with a 20% buffer. We've added a little bit on. Now, of course, when it does the 20% buffer, it's adding it onto like the proteins and the carbs. We can't be perfect with this stuff. The AI isn't like the best in the world at this stuff, but it does create something that's going to allow your clients who maybe have no idea how to track this to just be a little bit more accurate. And then where they are using this, What I would recommend you do is have in your check-in process, just say like, did you use the calorie tracking AI at all this week to track your calories? That could be a question. They say, yeah, on Thursday at dinner time, I had this. Here's the photo. They can send the photo over. And then you can be a little bit more accurate with them and say, cool, this is actually really like close. Or, you know what, with this, maybe next time consider doing this or that. And you can teach and coach your clients how to use this stuff. All right. So that's amazing. That's how you can work this. And once you're done, click create. And you can share this with anyone with the link and then copy the link and send it out to all your clients. Hope that helps. If you want access to a bunch of tools like this and many more, you can check down in the description below. There'll be a link, and I've got a ton of different tools like this where you can build and create different AI tools, get different prompts, speed up your workflow. Currently, we're using this with our clients inside the ECB, and I would say on average, they're probably going to save around 5 to 10 hours a week just by using AI tools that they can create and build from scratch. You need no like coding experience or anything. You can just use stuff and market and do more, and just it's incredible. So if you want to check that out, it'll be in the description down below. Thank you very much for tuning in. If this has helped you, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.